Welcome, everyone, to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the HTL Cup Series Henderson Graphics 400 here on ABN. We kick off the month of June with some racing here under the lights in Atlanta, and we're glad you're with us here for race coverage. So let's go ahead and let's jump right into it here. Looking at 38 drivers trying to win here in Atlanta. It's going to be a special time here in the Peach State. One race down, 23 to go in the HTL Cup Series Season 8. Phil Snipes, the Daytona 500 winner from 2 weeks ago, currently occupies the top spot in the standings, the Tennessee native, with 74 points, doing the super sub role to an excellent performance in Daytona, outrunning Christina Ryan at the line on the high banks 2 weeks ago. Pacey Wygett, third in points going into tonight. Bailey Thompson, not present tonight, was fourth in points entering tonight's event. Thompson will drop down the order. Not present, as we mentioned, Marcus Chafin will be driving the 27 car here tonight. Zach Meredith, Alfred Denny, Davis Mule Jr., Mo Perry, Josh Susi, John Matthews, Elias Sasek, and Brady Smith, your top 12 in points right now. Remember, top 16 get into the playoffs. That is the important metric here, and a lot will shift across the regular season here. Zach Apperson, Bryn Roberts, Martin Roberg, Caitlin Height, your top 16. Emily Howe on the outside looking in after just one race, but we'll see how things pan out here across this event. DJ Anderson, Patrick Oberstadt, Hunter Whitlock, Elias Flores, Marcus Chafin, as we mentioned. Typically he's in the 28 car. He's in the 27 tonight. Bobby Blowers and Casey Ellis make up your top 24. Mirabella Viscali, Kevin Gibney Jr., Dustin Hall, Shad Swatsworth, who is not present tonight either, in 28th. Josh Arnold and Jason Scott make up your top 20. Derek Miller, Stephen Oberstadt, James Wright, Blake Henderson, Byron Jones, Tucker Sawyer, your top 36. And then you have Olivia Pereira, Richard Odie, Gary Donaldson, Carson Lucas, the 40th and final driver with points in this event going into Atlanta. Several drivers that have not yet made a start. Blue Jade making her debut tonight, not in the 5, but in the 60 for Martin Roberg. Nick Pressey taking over the 20, as he was supposed to in Daytona. Hunter Peach, the defending champion, only running a select handful of races, sharing that car with Hunter Whitlock. A driver also not on this list right now, Austin Mongold, a last-minute entry, also here in Atlanta. As we get ready to go qualifying, he is on the racetrack right now. Going on to start his qualifying run is Austin Mongold. Christina Ryan first on the board, 30.41 for the runner-up in the Daytona 500 2 weeks ago. Dustin Hall, four-time pole sitter here in Atlanta. He goes provisional front row in that top spot. Derek Miller third, Apperson fourth, Sasek fifth. A lot more times will roll up here in the next minute. Mo Perry, Brady Smith, they go front row. Austin Mongold, where does he go? Provisionally top 10. One of two hometown drivers in this field. We talked about Marcus Chafin and Blake Henderson in the driver in the race preview earlier this afternoon. And here you're getting a look at Henderson's car. Only one outlap here to set a qualifying time. See where he goes. He has not had a pole at home. His best finish of 5th here in Atlanta back in Season 1. So far, that time puts him in the top 10, but just in the top 10. Hunter Whitlock in the 67 here tonight. In the fence, that is his run done and over with. And so we'll pivot to the 27, Marcus Chafin. Mo Perry currently in the top spot, looking for his first career HTL Cup Series pole and his second career start. Marcus Chafin trying to throw him off. Chafin's best finisher in Atlanta is third. Lap time beginning for Chafin. Nick Pressey, Mirabella Viscali, Pacey Wygant, Dale Markowski, Zach Meredith, Steven Oberstadt, all on track at the moment. 26 set lap times of 38 starters here in Atlanta. Marcus Chafin, cross start finish line, carried a lot more speed there, but it's not going to help him too high in the standings. 19th with a 30.484. Mirabella Viscali in car 18. An important number these last few weeks. Viscali finishing her qualifying run. Will be the 33rd car to set a lap time here in qualifying. And goes 14th fastest, 30.436 for Viscali. And Bryn Roberts getting out on the racetrack now with about 5 minutes left to go in qualifying. Hunter Whitlock's time did count. It just wasn't fast. 30.6 for Whitlock. Davis Mo Jr., Josh Susie, I think they are electing to start from the back of the field. DJ Anderson, Gary Donaldson might be in the same boat. See what Bryn Roberts has got going on here at the moment. See, he's also running the Kyle Busch tribute number, as Viscali had the 18th font on her machine. Bryn Roberts running the Richard Childress Racing font for the number 8. Roberts across the line, a winner here within the last couple seasons. Go 7th fastest. There you go. 30.394. Nick Pressey goes top of the board. So 2 rookies sharing top honors here at the moment. Jarsusi will make his run now at the end of the session in the 81. The main native for Gibney Racing Division, Kevin Gibney Jr., one of those 3 cars already qualified, 22nd at the moment. Josh Susie and Davis Moon Jr. both entering the racetrack to see where they place. It would leave just DJ Anderson and Gary Donaldson that would need to qualify over the next 3 minutes once these two set their qualifying times. Josh Susie, 3rd fastest. I was answering a couple questions there in the Patreon chat. Susie, 3rd fastest with a 30.386. Davis Mill Jr. likewise only goes 30.444. So with 2 minutes left to run, we'll take a second. To shout out some of our premier tier patrons over on Patreon. Trade Ups Logan, Dogman2935, Eli Sasick, Jason Scott, Alfred Denny, Weekend Hobby 22, Philip Snipes, Tyler Head, B-Dogs, Colin McDonough, Blue, KJ Gibney, J. Paul, and Jake Potak. Thank you all for your support here on ABN. It's greatly appreciated. If you want to have your name shouted out during HABN broadcasts, the QR code at the bottom of your screen or in the description down below if you're watching this on YouTube is the place to be. If you're watching this on Patreon, both are being simulcast live here. Thank you for the support. Enjoy the exclusive community. And enjoy Victory Lane after the fact, where we talk to more than just the podium finishers here. Some information here about Atlanta Motor Speedway as qualifying wraps itself up here. 161 laps, 400 kilometers is the distance, 28 degrees across all four corners. Stage is a little bit different tonight, lap 40 and lap 100. Last season it was 45 and 90, so the stages are a little bit more adjusted here. Stage 1, regardless, should be easy on fuel. Should be easy to make. However, stage 2 will be a little more difficult with as far as the fuel management goes. Stage points are on offer. There's no stage breaks this season, as we've covered pretty extensively the last few weeks. So you've got to try to find a way to race through to get those stage points at this point. Upcoming races for the HTL Cup Series. You got Las Vegas coming up next weekend. California. After that, we had to do Sears Point for Sonoma. We head to Arizona after that, June 22nd, June 29th, ending out the month of June in Kansas Speedway. And then we have an off week for July 4th weekend. We'll be back July 13th in Alabama for the Talladega 400. Some betting odds made available here. Some of your favorites. Brendan Roberts. He has had 3 podium finishes, including a race win in his 4 starts here in Atlanta over the last couple seasons. Patrick Oberstadt also doing well. The Beagle Denny racing cars should be favorites here in Atlanta, as they have been. This has sort of been their domain the last couple seasons. Caitlin Height, she's also strong here, as is Josh Susie. You start looking a little bit further at the wild cards. You look at Alfred Denny, you look at Eli Sasick, Zach Meredith, Pacey Wygant, Dustin Hall, Blake Henderson, drivers that have had some success here, but it's not been recent. That'll be a big indicator as to how things will run here tonight. We broke this down last week, or 2 weeks ago with Daytona. Same package here with the Super Speedways. 550 horsepower, a 9-inch spoiler. Mandated rear ride height, 12 inches, a foot off the ground for the rear of the car. It'll be that way at Talladega on July 13th as well. The next plate race. A little over a month away. This is their race. Henderson Graphics. Get NASCAR quality without NASCAR pricing on your paints. Look good this summer. The QR code can help get you set up. Whether you're wanting to win in real life in ARCA, whether you want to run Cup Series quality paints in your sim racing, they got you covered. This is their home race here in Atlanta. It'll be a lot of fun. It typically is here in Georgia. We talked about it on Patreon earlier this afternoon, kind of going into the preview here as to how things typically would go. Not a lot of tributes going to be happening tonight. Most of the tributes will be happening next week when HTL goes to Las Vegas for the Cup Series event. There will be a lap of silence on lap 8 here tonight for Kyle Busch, who passed away right after the Daytona 500 2 weeks ago. So that's an important thing to note there. But also, as we mentioned, some interesting names to kind of keep an eye on here. Obviously, Bren Roberts, as we mentioned, the betting odds, is the odds-on favorite at the moment. His worst finish here is 6th. James Wright, I think, is an underdog as well. Could also be a top 10 player here. Finished 3rd his last time here in Atlanta. It's one of those races that doesn't have a lot of repeat winners. So we'll see how things pan out here tonight. Everyone practicing their pit entries. Pretty important stuff. Definitely don't want to mess that up tonight. For those watching on Patreon, send in your picks. Who do you think's going to win tonight here in the HTL Cup Series race in Atlanta, the Henderson Graphics 400? I'll respond to those either via chat or on air tonight. The Patreon watchers, tell us who you think is going to win. Make your predictions. I'd say place your bets. We don't have channel points. We kind of left that behind. That being said, it is time for us to go through the starting grid. So, let's begin. Nick Pressey and Mo Perry on the front row tonight. 2 rookies looking to make their mark. Nick Pressey missing out on Daytona after having technical issues. Philip Snipes did a wonderful job in that car, instead winning Daytona as a super sub. He'll try to pick up where Philip Snipes left off. A good place to do so. Front row for him. His first pole position in his first official start. Row 2, Josh Susie, Pacey Wygant. 2 championship contenders a season ago. They lost that 20 car driven by Hunter Peach last season. They start in row 2. Both of them have won here in Atlanta, importantly. Emily Howe, one of the favorites, the boogeyman, as many have referred to the Arrowhead team this season. It was absolutely nothing to look at in Daytona. Can that change here in Atlanta? We'll find out. Zach Meredith alongside in row number 3. Bobby Blowers, Bren Roberts, they make up row number 4. Alongside each other there, Bren Roberts, the odds-on favorite from 8th in the field. It started worse and won here in Atlanta. We'll try to do the same tonight. Patrick Overstadt, Brady Smith in row 5. Your top 10 is earmarked by the defending winner, with Patrick Overstadt in that 9th position. Dustin Hall, 4-time pole sitter here in Atlanta. He'll start outside of the top 10, 11th, alongside Christina Ryan in the number 80, 2nd place, last time out in Daytona. John Matthews, Austin Mongold, they make up row 7 on this field, ahead of Dylan Markowski, who missed out on Daytona after having a technical issue of his own. He makes his first start this season, starting 15th alongside the rookie Mirabella Biscali. Derek Miller and Davis Mule Jr. make up row number 9 here in Daytona. Row 10, your top 20, earmarked by one of the hometown drivers, Blake Henderson alongside the debutante Blue Jade, making her first official Cup Series start tonight. Row 11 is where you'll find Stephen Oberstadt and Tucker Sawyer. Tucker Sawyer filling in for Olivia Pereira, who was hospitalized over the weekend. Hopefully Pereira feels better. Hearing positive thoughts from the Akron native, and hopefully we'll see Pereira back on track in Las Vegas next Monday. Zach Apperson, Kevin Gibney Jr. in row number 12, 23rd and 24th on the grid. Eli Sasek and Josh Arnold starting in row 13 tonight. Have some work to do from back there in 25th and 26th. Marcus Chafin and Richard Odie starting in row 14, 27th and 28th on the grid. Chafin, car 27, P27 tonight. Teammates, row 15, 29th and 30th for Arrowhead Racing, Caitlin Height and James Wright in that row. Poet, and you don't know it. Elias Flores, Byron Jones in row 16. Row 17, Jason Scott alongside Alfred Denny, who can find his way to the front of the field pretty easily. He'll have to do so from 34th on the grid. 35th, 36th, Casey Ellis and Hunter Whitlock near the back of the field. Gary Donaldson and DJ Anderson did not set qualifying times. They will round out the final row here in Atlanta. We are glad you're with us for the Henderson Graphics 400 here in Daytona, here in Atlanta. Here in Atlanta. It's a good thing we can clip this out later. Nick Pressey, first career pole. Mo Perry, front row start here in Atlanta for the Henderson Graphics 400. Emily Howell and Pacey Wygant in row 2, it looks like here, as we get ready to go racing. 161 laps. Nick Pressey leads him to green. The Henderson Graphics 400 is way. Drivers dropping out of position, trying to get themselves out of line a little bit here. Perry leads lap 1 here in Atlanta. Howe goes up the racetrack in front of Bren Roberts. And the outside lane asserting dominance early. Perry, Wygant, Meredith, Howe. And look at Emily Howe immediately try to surge forward here. We'll see how it pans out. Tire wear a major concern in these cars. A little bit faster than what they were last season in the Gen 7 car. Step back technologically. But we saw it pay dividends in Daytona 2 weeks ago. Emily Howe trying to run the bottom of the racetrack. That's where she feels the most comfortable. Everyone took note of that during practice earlier this afternoon. Perry's trying to side draft just a little bit. You do not want to give the door, though, to Zach Meredith, who's third in line there, that red, white, and blue, that Stars and Stripes machine. But I think Meredith also taking note, he was ditched heavily in Daytona. The field deemed him to be a weapon, and they drowned him with it. Perry's led all 4 laps so far in this race. The outside lane early on has the favor, but it is a set teammates in that outside lane, and they're going to try to go to the bottom of the racetrack. They do. It'll now leave Meredith to his own devices up top, and they're going to try to control both lanes there at the front of the field, Perry and Wygant, dropping between the top lanes and the low lanes here. A little bit of contact there between Pressey and Meredith. Pressey drifted up the racetrack. Meredith holding his line. But everyone's still running pretty strong here. 5 laps completed. As we mentioned, stage 1 ends on lap 40. Stage 2 ends on lap 100. There are no stage breaks to race through it, and they have the fuel mileage. They can do stage 1 easily without a pit stop. It's how do you handle stage 2 and stage 3 that becomes more of a factor. 48 to 52 laps is the fuel mileage. But tires could be a factor and could force drivers to pit a little bit early in that regard. Trouble, trouble, huge checkup. Car is in the fence, and it's more trouble further back. And the caution still is yet to come out. There it is. Very delayed. Trouble in turn one at the front of the field, and it cascaded further back. And we'll take a look as to why. Now, unfortunately, this means that we'll have to push the tribute lap, the lap of silence for Kyle Busch, to lap 18, if we can. We are going to take a look. Pacey Wygen coming in, and that looks like a done race car here. Pacey Wygen's day already done and dusted. It looks like here before we even get to lap 10. And this is already started. So when the caution comes out, it's already pretty well kicked off here. So let's go ahead and let's take a look. Let's use our blimp cam. Not the best angle, but we'll have to work with it. Emily Howe in third. Not a great angle either way. There we go. So Emily Howe. Does she just give Perry a shove? 100% just gives Perry a huge shove. Perry was not ready for it. Wygen, I think a little bit of net code may have played a factor in him going up to the fence. Either that or he was just very unsettled, understandably, by what happened there. Unfortunately, I do believe it affected pretty heavily Derek Miller further back, the 16, in trouble early. And, even bigger contact there, the 91 of Jason Scott, the 21 of Alfred Denny, the 24 of Byron Jones. Kalen Hite going through the grass there, trying to avoid the melee. Let's see if we can get a better. This is already, it's kind of already happened here at this point. Let's see what he can see. Running on board with Derek Miller. The car's in the fence. He's out of the gas, out of the gas, out of the gas. But unfortunately, Perry's drifting down the racetrack. And then Miller gets clobbered from behind. And so unfortunate there for those involved to be really in trouble early. Get ready to go back racing here, 1 to green. And your top 5 looks a little something like this at the moment. Emily Howe, Zach Meredith, Nick Cressy, Brendan Roberts, and Brady Smith, your top 5. As we approach a lap 11 restart. A non-start for DJ Anderson left us 37 cars on the actual racetrack here. Mo Perry, Pacey Wygen, Derek Miller still in pit lane getting repair work done. The other 34 on the lead lap and on the racetrack together at the moment. Reminder, stage 1 ends on lap 40 unless a caution comes out within 5 laps of that marker, in which case the caution ends the stage. If there isn't a caution, then the race will continue going from there. Patrick Oberstadt up 2 spots in 7th position on this restart. First restart coming up here in Atlanta Motor Speedway. The Henderson Graphics 400 is back underway, and away we go. And it's Toyotas all over the top 5. 4 of the top 5 all right there. 6 the top 10. Emily Howe out and clear of the field out of turn 2. And we'll stick to the bottom of the racetrack. Hal, Zach Meredith, Nick Pressey, Bren Roberts, your top 4. Brady Smith also in that conversation on the bottom of the racetrack, just behind Pressey, the 95 behind the 20. Remember, tire wear, as we mentioned, was going to be important. You got to manage those tires. You could not be super aggressive early because it will cost you later on. And if you're looking for stage points, like most people are right now, you got to manage everything as you get it. Lap 14 underway. Christina Ryan's moved top 10. Now sitting in 8th. Make that 7th. Outside lane, though, beginning to surge forward a little bit. Inside lane. Top 5 in that inside lane. Looks like it is Howe, Pressey, Brady Smith, Christina Ryan, Mirabella Viscali. Zach Meredith wants the race lead at a turn 4. And he's going to lead that lap. Lap 14 belongs to the number 2. Bren Roberts, the favorite to win this race, outside second row in that number 8. Bobby Blowers, the 34th, third in line on the outside. And then Patrick Oberstadt. And that's the 12 with Josh Arnold, 5th in line on the outside lane. It is Toyotas that have dominated, though, the early proceedings here in Atlanta. Lap 16 now underway. The Gimby Racing Division cars have separated themselves and dropped back a little bit like they did in Daytona, trying to avoid trouble if it comes. It's Toyota's currently running both lanes at the moment. The 15 helped the 20 win the Daytona 500 2 weeks ago. And so far, it's reverse order on the inside lane here in Atlanta. Emily Howe was a favorite to win in Daytona, according to a lot of the drivers in the field. Speeding up pit lane undid all of that, and Emily Howe ended up finishing a lap down in Daytona 2 weeks ago. Reason to believe if a green flag pit stop cycle does happen here in Atlanta, that could happen again. People fearing the Arrowhead NFG alliance on the Toyota side of things. Of the 10 cars that were there in Daytona 2 weeks ago, 7 of them had a penalty on pit lane. It was a rough time. They did a little bit of practice. Viscali, who was fine on pit lane, one of the 3 cars that did not get penalized on pit lane. We saw her practice in the warm-up. Right now, she's sitting in a decent spot right now, top 12. Everyone's cycling single file for the most part. Pressey goes to the bottom of the racetrack. He's got clean real estate now with fresh air. And he's trying to challenge the 15 of Howe as Bren Roberts gets to the bumper of the 15. Meredith having a lot more comfort. Hal once again going for the race lead here. Meredith, however, holding on to the race lead right now. 21 laps completed here in Atlanta. Will Perry returning to the racetrack after spending 10 minutes on pit lane. Hal gets clear and moves top side ahead of Meredith. And Perry back on the racetrack. There he is. Sitting right now in the 35th position. Yes, the hill comes down the back straightaway now on lap 24. It is 28 cars in this group, all the way down to Jason Scott in the 91, who was in that opening caution on lap number 7. Emily Howell leads the way on lap 24. Now on lap 25, pressure beginning to build. Bryn Roberts up to second. Brady Smith moves to the outside lane, trying to move into the top 3 positions here. If you save tire, you've got a chance. Christina Ryan going 3 wide. Pressy in the middle, Blowers up top. And it's tight. Deceptively tight. Christina Ryan trying to blaze her own trail forward. Patrick Oberstadt trying to get around Pressy as well in the outside lane. Everyone jockeying for position. Christina Ryan does get ahead with help. I believe that was from Dustin Hall, it was. And now it's Josh Arnold, middle 3 wide. Some aggressive moves being made now that some people have worn their tires out a little bit and others have saved a little bit. Derek Miller back out on the racetrack now. Leaves just Pacey Wygant in pit lane. And they're all chasing down Emily Howe right now. There is a separation in the packs here. And there you see Susie, Gibney, Oberstadt, Smeal, Donaldson, and Mongold. It's a 6-car line right now. All these lead lap cars, that gets us down to 34th on the lead lap. Emily Howe with fresh air. Bryn Roberts right in the tire tracks. Brady Smith leads the inside lane, but getting heavily pinched down by both Meredith and by Bryn Roberts for that second spot. Former teammates, now just on-track friends. Christina Ryan and Dustin Hall, they are working together right now, the 80 and the 1. Sitting right now behind Brady Smith. Here comes Bryn Roberts for the race lead. Side drafts the 15 and has a rocket strapped to him. Bryn Roberts leads with 11 to go in stage 1. And Brady Smith will try to follow suit here pretty easily here. DJ Anderson has made his way onto the racetrack. There he is. After having a technical issue of his own, he is on the racetrack 30 laps down. But, as we've seen at plate races, getting on the racetrack is the first step, and you can pick up some pretty significant points. Brady Smith across the line as the race leader with 10 laps to go. Who's going to grab the most stage points from stage number 1? Side by side, Smith and, really dangerous move there by Zach Meredith. I don't know if he got help from Bobby Blowers or not, but he was looking at the wall in the tri-oval and somehow kept pointing the right direction. That number 2 car almost ate it in a massive way. And instead, he battles and stays top 4. Pretty magnificent stuff here. Just a reminder on the stage rules. Stage ends on lap 40 unless a caution comes out between lap 46 and lap 40, in which case, caution ends the stage. There are no stage breaks otherwise, so if we get the lap 40 under green, we stay green. Brent Roberts in front and clear. Smith moved to the bottom in front of Hal. Meredith now up to second. A little bit of wobbling from Meredith. Very unsettled, that number 2 machine. As Roberts gets to the bottom of the racetrack. Meredith once again alone at the top. Roberts goes back up top, though, through the tri-oval. Emily Howe gave Brady Smith a shove. Last time she tried to give a shove, it turned Mo Perry into the wall in turn 1. Smith held it a little bit better that time, but Emily Howe decides not going to help the 95. But tags the fence anyway. Christina Ryan goes inside. 3 wide, Brady Smith in the middle. Christina Ryan says, I would like to move forward, thank you very much. The door is open and I shall walk through. 5 to go in stage 1. That is putting it on the table and letting everyone walk away. Roberts, Meredith, Howell, Blowers, Ryan. Your top 5. Pressey's made his way back to the top 6. They're former world champions in ABN side by side here in Atlanta. And Pressey's got the advantage. She'll take 5th away. Bren Roberts still leads the way. Emily Howe in 2nd. Zach Meredith in 3rd. Blowers 4th. Pressey now top 5. Emily Howe looking for the race lead. Goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Couldn't keep it there. Bren Roberts gets the run through 3 and 4. And will once again be clear through the front straightaway. Meredith on his bumper. Blowers following him. Inside lane, everyone thought would be a little bit stronger at saving tires. No one's saving tires, though. And if they are, they're at the back of the field. Everyone has been in full push mode since the restart on lap 11. None more so than the 8 and the 2. But here comes Bobby Blowers. Also a winner here in Atlanta. Roberts leads the way, though. 2 to go in stage number 1. And here comes Meredith. Full head of steam outside lane. And Nick Pressey behind him, going to try to surge to the front. Wild, wild, wild stuff here in Atlanta. Meredith just up a little bit higher. They are side by side at the front of the field. Meredith leads. White flag, stage number 1. How do they finish the stage? Remember, we stay green unless a caution comes out for an accident. Everyone in full push here. How much does the scale shift once we get through this stage and everyone resets for stage 2? Still side by side for the stage. Roberts wins stage 1. Brent Roberts wins stage 1. Grabs the 10 bonus points there. Beyond that, good luck calculating the stage points down to 10th. Good luck with that. We're not bothering with that at the moment. Brent Roberts won the stage. You got 10 bonus points. Meredith got 9. I think Blowers got 8. Pressy may have gotten 7. Difficult to tell. But now we are in stage 2, and we stay racing here. And you see the thinning out further back as you look further back in the pack here. That's what we're talking about. The tire wear is a factor. People trying to push early and people trying to push through the field, beginning to drop backwards here, and it's thinning out the front. You have your favorites. You have your contenders: Bryn Roberts, Zach Meredith, Bobby Blowers, Emily Howe, Nick Cressy, Christina Ryan. You got Caitlin Height, the 13, now in the top 10. Dustin Hall, Patrick Overstat. They're your mainstays. They're your typical front runners here on the plate tracks. Henderson, Apperson, Chafin, they're sitting a little bit further back here, just trying to save up those tires just a little bit more. But they missed out on stage points. How important will that be later on this season? And do they miss out on stage points again in stage 2? That'll be another indicator. They did not do well stage points-wise in Daytona. And there's no winning you're in. There's no wild card. Apperson needed the wild card to get in. Henderson, who ended up being a championship contender, he needed a wild card to get into the playoffs there last season. That rule doesn't exist anymore. You gotta just be top 16 in points here. Friends side by side, Ryan and Height. As Caitlin Height tries to surge forward behind Pressy, Emily Howe in front of Christina Ryan. Both of them seem log-jammed at the moment. Everyone's still trying to chase down Bryn Roberts. Bobby Blowers has gotten clear for second, ahead of Zach Meredith, and you see some pit stops beginning. And that includes Bryn Roberts. Bobby Blowers now front of the field. Tricky pit lane, trickier than Daytona, I'd argue, because you have to enter off of turn 3 and stay. And oh goodness, that was Caitlin Height. Was that that was Emily Howe. Was that another penalty on pit lane? No, the 15 did not get a penalty on pit lane there. That was almost deja vu for the 15. Viscali also down pit lane, as is Meredith, as we mentioned earlier. Most of the field staying out an extra lap. You got one car coming in, Nick Pressy. He comes in, and he comes in alone, importantly. We expect most of the field can get to about lap 52, which whether or not they want to. And Bobby Blowers and a few others said, nah, we've gotten past 45. That's pretty well good enough. Caitlin Height, Christina Ryan, Dustin Hall, your top 3 now. Patrick Overstat in 4th. You do get bonus points for leading a lap this season. That is returned. So Caitlin Height will get a bonus point for leading a lap here in Atlanta. But she's outnumbered 2-1. The friends on the bottom of the racetrack, Christina Ryan and Dustin Hall, a lot more keen to work together until they come down pit lane this time. Caitlin Height stays out an extra lap. She's one of those that came down pit lane on lap 8. Important to note there. So she can go longer than anybody else anywhere. Blue Jade, Byron Jones, Marcus Chafin, Richard Odie, Alfred Denny, James Wright, Josh Susie, Kevin Gibney Jr., David Smear Jr., Jason Scott, Casey Ellis, Gary Donaldson. They all came down pit lane on lap 8. So you got 15 cars that are all able to go a little bit longer. Looks like a few coming down pit lane this time. Henderson and Apperson coming down pit lane, as is Marcus Chafin, who came down lap 8, but pitting with teammates here. Smart move, kind of keep everyone together. James Wright, I believe, also down pit lane. There he is. Caitlin Height stays out. Byron Jones, Blue Jay, top 3. And then it's a 2.7 gap to Richard Odie, Alfred Denny, and company as they try to go a little bit longer here. The important number is that this group right now, they have made sure that they can get to the end of stage 2 with just this one stop. Everyone that came down early before lap 50 has to come down pit lane again in this stage. Remember, it ends on lap 100, not 90. So those that came down early are in trouble. Those staying out longer, it's short-term pain, long-term gain, is how it's being played right now. They can get to about lap 55, lap 56 pretty easily. And we'll see how they handle that. Obviously, a caution coming out now would really hit the field hard. Only 11 cars on the lead lap right now from Height down to Donaldson. And it's these three that are sort of running the roost at the moment. Height, Jones, Jade. A 3-car Armada, a Toyota, and 2 Chevys out in front on lap 53. We missed a couple opportunities to do the lap tribute to Kyle Busch. We'll do it on lap 63, and we'll explain why in a moment. We want to get through this pit lane cycle. We don't want to miss pit stops here, which will stretch on beyond this next lap. Caitlin Height, Byron Jones, Blue Jade, Richard Odie, Alfred Denny, your top 5 here on lap 54. Caitlin Height, Byron Jones, and Blue Jade staying pretty well close together. And they've pulled a little bit of a gap here on Odie and company. Now it's about 3.7 seconds. They've gained a second, that 3-car group at the front. Odie coming down pit lane this time, and most of this group is coming down pit lane this time. It leaves just those 3 alone, but they're running fast enough that they're not worried. Your friends are where you find them in some cases, and that's the case for Caitlin Height, a former winner of this race, knows how to win here in Atlanta. Trying to do so again. Blue Jade, we know how good the 60 can be. She's been impressive, and here they come down pit lane on lap 56. And so that will give Bryn Robertson, everyone, their lap back. And it is very spread out here. Roberts, Howe, and Meredith, 1, 2, and 3 here in this group. Expecting that they should be the race leaders by the time all the pit stops are completed. They just got their lap back. And it's not particularly close right now. It's another about 4-second gap to Pressey on back. Pressey, Blowers, Viscali, Sawyer, Smith, Ryan, Oberstadt. All separated here. They're not all together. A very spread out group. And you see the difference, the early pit stops versus the late pit stops made. Your leaders are clear, and it's not really close. Josh Arnold about to go a lap down here, 33rd place. Not having the greatest time. Didn't have a bad pit stop. It was a little bit slow, a couple seconds slow, but I think he was overall just struggling a little bit. Wasted his stuff early, dropped and lost the draft, and now he's the first car a lap down. Gary Donaldson up next in 32nd, and he is on his lonesome right now in that 32nd spot. But as we mentioned, those that came down pit lane early, about lap 45, which is what this group did, they cannot make it to the end of stage 2 without another stop. So we have two very firm, very different strategy calls going on right now. That will help out the likes of Caitlin Height, the like of Byron Jones and Blue Jade, because they will be able to go beyond lap 100 before their next stop. Beginning lap 60, it is Bren Roberts. As we mentioned, we pulled up the betting odds from AB and Sportsbook. Obviously very fictional, no money available to bet for or with. This fun little side quest, though. Bren Roberts was by and far one of the favorites. Him and Patrick Oberstadt and Caitlin Height all expected to be contenders here tonight. Caitlin Height on that alternate strategy is a contender. Patrick Oberstadt in 10th is 7 seconds off the race lead at the moment. Would need a caution to get back into it here. Everyone's spread out here. It does mean that it is more than likely we will see another set of green flag pit stops here. Had a conversation with Christina Ryan earlier before the race started. She was very negative about the idea of green flag pit stops in this race. Didn't think we'd have one. And we've already had one set of green flag pit stops here in the first third of the race. So make sure you tag her on social media and tell her she was wrong. We will. As we come around to complete laps, to start lap 63, Kyle Busch, a 63-time race winner, will honor his Cup wins on this lap. Letting everyone complete lap 63 here. Reason why we picked lap 63, he had 234 career NASCAR wins. We do not have 234 laps to honor each and every single one of them. So we can at least honor those Cup wins that he had. There'll be more tributes officially organized by HTL for the race in Las Vegas next week, when they race in Kyle Busch's hometown of Las Vegas. Roberts leads the way here, completing lap 65 of 161. Let's go ahead and walk you through the field here in Atlanta. 23 laps led for Bren Roberts, looking for his second win here in Atlanta. He's in really good company at the moment with those 23 laps led. We'll see what he can do, though. The Maryland native right now sitting pretty comfy out front, but they do need pit stops before the stage comes to a close on lap 100. Emily Howe, likewise, good company at the moment. Everyone fears the monster that lingers in the dark, but Emily Howe hasn't dominated this race. Everyone was fearful that Emily Howe would be able to tire save and just whisk around the field, and that's not been the case. She's in good company. She's in good position, but she's not led the most laps. She's not been alone in this conversation, and I'm going to argue right now, as it looks, not on the favorable strategy. Those that pin on lap 55, those that got a little bit longer, I think are a little bit more favorable right now. I think right now you're on the wrong strategy, and it's going to be hard to dig out of that hole right now. They're front of the field at the moment, but they're going to miss out on stage points here, and it's going to put them in the hole in the stage 3, and that's not a good place to be. Zach Meredith, likewise. 3 of the more aggressive drivers on plate tracks at the front of the field right now. That is no surprise. as they put Gary Donaldson a lap down. But as we mentioned with Emily Howell and with Bryn Roberts, I don't think they're on the right strategy here to get to the end of the race in the positions they're currently in. They are doing well enough, though, as a 3-car group to stay ahead of 4th place, Nick Cressy. Cressy ahead of Bobby Blowers. Again, everyone on this strategy, they thought there would be more cautions, which is why they didn't come down pit lane on lap 8. They didn't think we'd get this long green flag run. Now that we're in it, though, you kind of just can't take it back. You kind of just got to work with what you got. Your pole sitter right now, down 3 spots, is the only driver in the top 10 that is not positive from where they started. Bobby Blowers started this race 7th, up to the 5th spot. Led a couple laps, respectable. But they're trying to claw in on the top 3, and that is proving to be more difficult than they thought it would be. Given the numbers that they have 6 cars in this group. Marabella Viscali, the 18 car. One of those that came down pit lane on lap 45. Trouble for Viscali. What a save. Viscali and Brady Smith. No, that wasn't Brady Smith. That was Tucker Sawyer. Viscali got a little loose out of turn 2. Drove it up the hill, and Tucker Sawyer had nowhere to go. They keep it going, but that slows this group of 6 down. Remember, they've got Josh Arnold in this group, who's already a lap down. But that was a little bit sketchy. Brady Smith, in the meantime, up to 6th place for him. He has gained 4 spots from where he started. He started this race in 10th. Viscali, despite that little hiccup, still up 9 spots from where she started. Started this race down in the 15th position. Sorry, in the 16th position. Now sitting in 7th. Tucker Sawyer up 14 spots from 22nd to 8th is the Texas native. A 2-time HTL Cup Series race winner. Filling in for Olivia Pereira. Patrick Oberstadt, exactly where he started. P9 from starting 9th. A former winner here, the defending winner of this race, actually, Patrick Oberstadt, ahead of Christina Ryan, who started this race in 12th. Ryan in the 10th position ahead of Eli Sasek, who has also gained 14 spots, same as Tucker Sawyer. From 25th to 11th is where he sits right now, almost 8 seconds adrift of the race leader right now. Dale Markowski in the 7th. Right now sitting in 12th. For Beagle Denny Racing, the Ohio native. Looking for a strong result. And this is inarguably the team's best racetrack. John Matthews in 13th. He's looking for a career best finish. He's on a good pathway to do so. Started this race 13th and is currently still there in the 98 for Orlando Outlaws. Up 17 spots, Elias Flores. 31st on the grid was where the 99 started. He is up into the top 15, and handily so. Hunter Whitlock up 21 spots in the 15th spot. Started this race 36th. And it has been a straight climb for him. Blake Henderson, one of the 2 hometown drivers in the 25, sitting 16th place. His average is 16th, so he's right where he normally would be if you look at his career averages here at home. But that's not where he wants to be, and he knows that. Just behind him, another Atlanta native, Marcus Chafin. Finished top 10 twice here in Atlanta. His average finish here is 7th. Right now, he is 10 spots below that in 17th. Started this race down in 27th. James Wright behind them. He finished 3rd here once upon a time as well. And James Wright will be looking to make some inroads here, up 12 spots. Started this race in 30th. They've got a couple seconds before they get to Byron Jones in 19th place. Byron Jones in the 19th position. Started this race down in the lower 10. Now sitting in 19th place, up 13 spots. Austin Mongold has lost 6 spots from 14th to 20th. Is Austin Mongold. but on the lead lap and still fighting. Caitlin Height on the preferable strategy, the first driver on that alternate strategy at the moment. Currently sitting 21st. Zach Apperson in 22nd, just behind. In 22nd place, he is up one spot. Started this race 23rd, up to 22nd. Alfred Denny from 34th to 23rd. The Milwaukee native, the Cheese Man, behind Dustin Hall, who is a lap down. Blue Jade on the alternate strategy, 24th, after starting this race in 20th. Losing a spot to Richard Odie, who will move up another spot. That is his 4th spot gained from where he started this race. Josh Susie gave up his starting position and moved to the back of the field. Just sort of chilling out with his teammates at the back of the field at the moment, not pushing forward. This could bite them, though. Having this long green flag run, another green flag set of pit stops coming around before we get to the end of stage 2 is not going to help them. You do not want to lose a lap on the road, and that could be a factor here. They are over half a second back from the leaders right now. And that could be a huge problem. Kevin Gibney Jr. sitting 27th, right behind his teammate there. Davis Miller Jr. also in 28th right there. All three Gibney Racing Division teammates right there, nose to tail. Stephen Oberstadt with them. While Bryn Roberts battles for the race lead and holds on to it pretty well. Stephen Oberstadt near the bottom end of the order in 29th position. Down 8 spots from where he started. Casey Ellis up 5 from 35th to 30th. But on an island right now. Jason Scott right behind him. Jason Scott up 2 spots. Started this race 33rd, up to 31st. Gary Donaldson a lap down officially. Hanging on to the leader's draft at the moment. The first car, 1 lap down. And then you had Josh Arnold in 33rd. And Dustin Hall, 34th. All of them 1 lap down. It is multiple laps down for Mo Perry in 35th after being collected in that lap 7 crash. Derek Miller also affected by that. In 36th at the moment, Pacey Wygant 37th. DJ Anderson started this race late, missed the first 30 laps, sitting 38th and last at the moment. But if chaos falls, he'll be there to try to pick up the pieces. No retirements here in Atlanta so far as we reach the final 16 laps of Stage 2. Approaching the final 15 laps here of the stage. Reminder, we do have extended post-race coverage on Patreon. ABN Victory Lane. We've talked to the podium interviewer. We'll talk to the podium finishers here on YouTube and Patreon. But we'll talk further down the field exclusively on Patreon. In addition to that, if you want your name shouted out live on air for every broadcast, we do a bunch of them every week. QR code can also help you get started there. Premier Tier subs have carried us significantly the last few months, and we greatly appreciate it. If you want to join the party and join the club and grab a whole bunch of other perks on the way, come on and join us. When do the leaders make pit stops? That is a very significant question. Not an easy one to answer either. These top 3 have really stretched their legs out a little bit. Almost 5 seconds to 4th place, Nick Cressy. They've got the numbers game by not a lot, but it is 5-4. Cressy, Blowers, Smith, Viscali, and Oberstadt are all here. But you see, they're struggling with tire wear. They've been pushing super hard, and here they come. Down pit lane. Cressy, Blowers, Viscali, and Brady Smith all down pit lane, as are the leaders. In trouble, Brandon Roberts. But no penalty. It was under the speed limit, so no penalty. That was close. Bunch of cars came down pit lane that time. The entire top 7 came down pit lane that time. Patrick Oberstadt, your new race leader here in Atlanta. But as we mentioned, they cannot get to the end of the stage under green. They will need a pit stop here. Caitlin Height, the first driver, good to the lap 100 mark. Caitlin Height, Blue Jade, Alfred Denny, Richard Odie can all get there. Josh Susie, Kevin Gibney Jr., Davis Miller Jr., everyone outside the top 15 realistically right now could make it. This group of cars down to Elias Flores, trying to go as far as they can. The lights have come on here in Atlanta. And as Patrick Oberstadt leading the way, Christina Ryan in second, Eli Sasek, Tucker Sawyer, Dale Markowski, your top 5 with 10 to go in stage 2. As we mentioned, no stage breaks here. And here they all come down pit lane. They cannot get to lap 100. But that surprises nobody here. That is just the cards that were dealt. New race leader will be the 67, Hunter Whitlock. And that'll be a bonus point for the 67. Blake Henderson would love to lead at home, but you also don't want to rock the boat too awful hard. That's the important sort of distinction. Cars coming down pit lane. It is just Whitlock that comes down, though, so Henderson will get a lap led here. And last time I checked, there we go. No lap led officially. You see the cars that just came down pit lane, fresh tires, getting themselves their lap back. And Henderson now officially has a lap led at home. Your race leader, Marcus Chafin, the 27. Sitting right behind him. Donovan coming down pit lane. They'll go another lap. Top 5 together here. Caitlin Height, the only one good to get past 100. Sorry, pardon me. Byron Jones, also good. He also came down pit lane. He pit with Caitlin Height on the nose because it was those three. It was those two and Blue Jade. So keep an eye on Height and Byron Jones, the 13 and the 24. They're trying to work their way around the 27 and the 25 under green, so that way they're not checked up by them coming down pit lane this next couple laps. 6 to go in stage 2. Bryn Roberts, Emily Howell, Zach Meredith, they will re-inherit the race lead here with minimal issue. And here you go. And Byron Jones comes down with. Byron Jones jumps to the main strategy here. Had the ability to go long, elects not to. Caitlin Height on an island. This is going to hurt Caitlin Height pretty significantly. Not having anyone to work with. But she's going to grab the stage win, I think, pretty easily here with 5 to go. Blue Jade, 4.5 seconds back. Alfred Denny in this group. Richard Odie also in this group. They can get to lap 100 before that pit stop. And that'll be some pretty significant stage points. Gary Donaldson also could gain some pretty significant stage points here in the 22 car. And as we mentioned, every point matters right now. Bryn Roberts, though, not far away. Emily Howell and Zach Meredith are all in that range together. Whoa! Big bump there by Blowers. Everyone trying to get their lap back. Caitlin Height just trying to get to the bottom of the racetrack. Almost got turned for it. She's just hanging in there. Tire wear, as we mentioned, matters, and part of the reason why it matters is because of the pace offset. And whoa, trouble, trouble. That is Mo Perry getting spun off the nose of, that was Josh Arnold, I believe it was. Oh my goodness, what a reset that'll be. Stage ends right here. And so your top 10, as it sits, will score those stage points. Caitlin Height will win the stage over Blue Jade, Alfred Denny, Richard Odie, Gary Donaldson. What a reset for him, getting on the lead lap here. From being the first car a lap down, now on the lead lap in a significant way. Bren Roberts, Emily Howell, Zach Meredith, Bobby Blowers, and Nick Pressey, your stage point scorers here in stage 2. It comes to an end. And most of the field from 11th on down trapped a lap down. They will have to use a wave around here. This is a free pit stop for those that stayed out. Oh, goodness. Brady Smith will be the free pass recipient. So he gets to come down pit lane. He will be 11th on the lead lap and will be able to make a pit stop here under this sequence. Anyone else will have to use the wave around and cannot come down pit lane. They will have to stick to the strategy that they were already on. And that is painful. So let's take a look at what happened to Mo Perry. The 97 getting turned a second time after being turned by Emily Howell on lap 7. Tagged the fence here. And unfortunately, this, I think, is kind of going to fall on the 97. Bouncing off the fence. Not a whole lot Josh Arnold can do in that circumstance. Obviously, still carrying some damage from lap 7 when Perry was turned by the 15 car. But avoids any major contact on this go around. So any damage that 97 car did receive should be easily repairable. Unfortunately, it does not help Perry's race, though, 35th. And we'll have to try to keep things circulating here. So we have currently 11 cars on the lead lap. Caitlin Height with a free pit stop. Alfred Denny, Richard Odie, all in the catbird seat. A pretty significant way. And a lot of the field going to need to use the wave around. And that'll put them behind the 8 ball on strategy here. Not only will they need to pit earlier, but they will also have worse tires. They will not be able to hold on to the race leaders nearly as long when we go back racing. That is a whammy. That is such a bad hit. And for Brady Smith, being the lucky dog normally is a bad ordeal. This is not going to be that case because so many cars are going to take the wave around. He will start closer to where he's supposed to be. Typically, the free pass, you drop to the end of the longest line. You're at the back of the field for the restart. That's sort of the penalty for getting your lap back. But we're going to see the awkward situation where so many cars are going to get wave arounds here that he will be close enough to the race leaders for it to be okay. And you're seeing that. I believe wave rounds taking place right now. If they aren't happening right now, they should be. And it looks like some of them are. And so we have extended the caution, it looks like by a lap. The lights are back on the pace car here to let everyone catch back up. Otherwise, it would be a disaster. Caitlin Height grabbing stage 2 points, but also holds on to the race lead regardless for this restart. The more interesting point here is that you have these cars that were sitting back a little bit now working with the cars that were trying to dominate this race and trying to just run away with it. With Howell, with Roberts, and Meredith all in this group. Blowers, Pressey, Blue Jade. This is going to get very interesting. For those watching on Patreon, we appreciate you subscribing for the full show here tonight. Going to be a lot to talk about. As there was at Daytona 2 weeks ago. No retirements from this race yet. Very important to note that. 38 cars, all of them starting. All of them still on the racetrack. Such a far cry from what it was in Daytona 2 weeks ago, where it seemed like attrition was pretty heavy. But we also know the tire wear is such a factor here. It just stretches the field out a little bit. Our first restart since lap 11. We went almost 90 laps. Actually, we went over... almost 90 laps to the nose. 88 laps, officially, before the caution came out. And now we're going to give it a go with Caitlin Height and Alfred Denny at the front of the field for this restart. It is Height, Denny, Odie, Hal, Meredith, Roberts, Blowers, Cressy, Jade, Viscali. Your top 10 for this restart. Gonna be a little bit spicy, but we're gonna be ready for it. Lots of wave rounds, lots of different strategies will be needed to get to the end of this race. The second restart of the Henderson Graphics 400 is signed. Way. For those who just got a wave round, they are hoping for an early caution here. Otherwise, they are in the hole in a pretty significant way. And it's not going to be fun. Height, Odie, Meredith, your top 3. Richard Odie, a dark horse here in Atlanta. He does well on the plate tracks. And once again, finds himself closer to the front of the field, closer to the sharp end of the stick here. But Meredith, he is so aggressive in that 2 car. And Meredith unapologetically aggressive. Knows that's his thing and owns it. Trying to get to the front of the field. And has the know-how to get there. 2 race wins last season. His best season since his championship campaign in Season 3 was let down significantly by the way the playoffs went. Was extremely upset with how that postseason went last season. Decided to enter this season with more energy. Car on the fence further back. Not sure who that was. Looks like John Matthews will stay racing. But Meredith with a lot more energy, a lot more aggression and passion overall. Big shoes to fill. Mark Kissenweather used to be in that car. A lot of race wins in that number 2 machine before Meredith took over. And he knows that. Meredith leads that lap. You also look at a lot of hungry drivers behind. Caitlin Height would love a 19th career victory to extend her record as the winningest Cup Series driver. Alfred Denny, the most tenured driver in the series without a race win. Would love just one. Just one. His best finish, a 2nd. That came last season in Pocono. The form has been improving in the 21 camp. But if you talk to him, he still thinks tracks like this are his best chance. He relies a little bit on the chaos factor. As much as it is snake bitten him, it's also given him cause for hope, and this is the reason why. Play your cards right, and you can be wherever you want to be. And right now, he is at the sharper end of the stick. In the final stage of this race. Richard Odie, 1 career HTL win total, and that was in the National Series in Chicagoland. Apples to oranges compared to Atlanta, compared to Daytona. But we also know Richard Odie, his best results have come on plate tracks in the Cup Series. His lone top 10 came here on a plate track, not Atlanta, came at Talladega. But this is a plate racing package. Kevin Gibney Jr. going a lap down. Stays topside as the field goes by. Not where the 31 wanted to be, but everyone gets around him okay. Emily Howe trying to shake off the disappointing taste of Daytona, as is the entire Arrowhead Racing squad that got dinged for penalties on pit lane 2 weeks ago. Derek Miller not having any better luck here, involved in that lap 7 crash. That included Mo Perry and Casey Wygen and others. The other 3 cars, cause for hope, cause for optimism. 2 of them are in this top 10 conversation right now. James Wright, 21st, one of the many that need a yellow to have a realistic chance here. Caitlin Height dipped below the white line, the double white line. You cannot use it to advance position. Lost position for a moment. Lost position to Emily Howe and Alfred Denny. Needed help from Richard Odie to get that spot back. Alfred Denny looking for the race lead. Woo! It's close. It's tight. Alfred Denny led that lap. Denny led a lap, Height in the middle. It got a little sketchy. It's still sketchy. The 20 and the 13, side by side, door to door. Height, middle 3. Anderson not coming up pit lane, just dropping out of the pack. Anderson laps down. Not a factor right now under any of these circumstances. Just wants to be there to capitalize when cars fall out, if they fall out. It would not help him significantly if cars fell out in the final 10 laps. He's 31 laps down. But if cars started falling out, say now, he'd have a chance. Look at Nick Pressey go. The 20 car outside lane, ripping it around the 15 of Height. Cars in the fence. Sasick hit the wall. Odie hit it harder. Patrick Oberstadt in this mix at 88. He is in the conversation now. That male yellow throwback. Viscali also here, top 10 in the 18. Meredith trying to defend that outside lane for all it's worth. Live and die on that outside lane. Big time shove there by Height to Pressey. But it's Toyotas that are dominating this race. So many of the laps led have been Toyota. Bren Roberts, the lone Chevrolet, with more than a couple laps led. And Bren Roberts not in this conversation. He's in 17th right now. He's at the tail end of this lead pack. The nerves beginning to ramp up here. I don't know if it's just me in the booth, because I feel like we're watching an impending hurricane. It feels like we're about to witness what many people meme as the sport ender. It feels like we are not far away. We're about one misstep from a major, massive crash that takes out about a third of the field, if not more. Huge contact, and there it is! Huge trouble, huge crash, turn 1. Third caution of the night. Odie's in it, and others. Your free pass, if it's awarded, would be Christina Ryan. I don't know if that'd be the case, but a huge crash. Started with Eli Sasick hitting the wall heavily in the tri-oval. And the chain reaction followed. And here's a look at the replay. Keep an eye on the 9. Target fixated, had a bad bump with Meredith there, and just shot into the wall there and came down the racetrack. Similar to what we saw with Mo Perry in front of Josh Arnold. It happened here as well, only this time it takes out a lot more cars. Not a whole lot for Odie to do here. Overcorrects. Comes right up the racetrack here, and Matthews involved. Derek Miller, his second accident of the night. Not his cause either. Alfred Denny gets a huge piece of this one. Everyone trying to avoid the melee. Christina Ryan, the first car a lap down. I don't think he's going to get that free pass. I think is 100% involved in this one. Contact with Flores, contact with Matthews. So I believe it might actually be Casey Ellis that gets the free pass here. Far enough back to be in safety as the field sort of collects itself out of turn 2. And actually, I stand corrected. It is Dustin Hall that gets the free pass. Christina Ryan will try to get the wave around here, as it looks like so will Mo Perry. So these two cars will try to get the free pass here, or the wave around, I should say. When we get ready to go back racing, they will wait for the 1 to green, and they will catch up to the back of the field. Dustin Hall, 29th, will be on the lead lap, coming down pit lane to take that pit stop, get some fresh tires on that number 1 machine, and try to work forward from there. Qualified way better than where he's at right now. Qualified this race in 11th place. He is now sitting in 25th. He'll end up being 29th on the restart. Meredith, Pressey, Howell, Height, Oberstadt, Viscali, Henderson, Blowers, Whitlock, and Jade, your top 10 on your third caution of the night. Appreciate those tuning in and watching on Patreon. Kevin Feemster, as soon as I join, they wreck. Talking about the third caution, that was Richard Odie and company, Eli Sasek and others. Glad you're with us on Patreon. Glad you're with us watching on YouTube as well. Welcome, everyone. For those that are just now jumping in, appreciate you. Coming to 40 laps to go when we go back racing for our third restart of the night. As we mentioned, the Henderson Graphics 400, they are the presenting sponsor of this race. NASCAR quality paints without NASCAR prices. So whether you're winning real life in ARCA or winning in various leagues and officials on iRacing. Not only are they a quality partner of ABN, they're a quality paint scheme provider. Update your look before the summer hits in full force. QR code you can scan and begin that process tonight. Looking at a third restart, Meredith, Pressey, Howell, Height, Oberstadt, Viscali, Henderson, Blowers, Whitlock, and Jade. The important distinction here is that everyone is now good to the finish if this race ends under regulation at 161 laps. But that also means for the first time all night, strategy has not been a thought process. Strategy is out the window. Everyone's on the same level footing. How do you handle the next 40 laps? That's what we're going to find out. Your pole sitter outside, front row here, Zach Meredith alongside as the control car. Pace car is in, and we're back underway. Time to see the lights and sparks fly in Atlanta. And a caution flies for the fourth time tonight as we cranked it up there on that restart. You heard from Blake Henderson's onboard there as we had a caution there. It looks like it would be Elias Flores would be the reason why. There's the San Francisco native. And you see the crab walking that 99 car is doing. The fourth yellow tonight. And here's the reason why. And you see it's already started. Dustin Hall's got a piece of it. This will help Christina Ryan get back on the lead lap, I do believe, if she's not already. No, she's already on the lead lap. She took the wave around. So I believe this helps Casey Ellis get lead lap back. So it seems like a huge checkup here. Since Flores and Austin Mongold off the nose of Davis Mills Jr. Bounces off the 91 of Jason Scott. Gets helped back into the fence there by Byron Jones. Steven Oberstadt gets a piece of it. And that car just completely destroyed. He's trying to lock it down there. And I think Dustin Hall got helped around by Pacey Wygent. And I believe they were trying to avoid the melee. And yeah, I believe that is the case. Dustin Hall trying to find his way around the racetrack here. Yep. Dustin Hall trying to make avoiding action. Wygent was earlier in that avoiding action. Thankfully, not a lot of damage to either car. And they both keep it going. Flores, the biggest loser in that situation. And his race effectively over. Zach Meredith, Emily Howe, Nick Pressey, Caitlin Height, and Mirabella Viscali, your top 5 on this fourth caution of the night. It'll be fun to see how this all plays out here. Zach Meredith led 25 laps here tonight so far in this race. Emily Howe's led 15. Nick Pressey's led 4 as the pole sitter. Caitlin Heights led 20 laps of this race so far. Mirabella Viscali yet to lead a lap here in Atlanta. Patrick Oberstadt has led 3 laps off sequence during pit stops. Hunter Whitlock has led a lap as well. Blake Henderson led 3 laps earlier on in this race. Sitting top 10 at the moment. Bobby Blowers has led a couple laps as well. Brendan Roberts has led the most so far, though. 46 laps led for the 8 car. He restarts in 10th. Huge reminder, upcoming races. We race through the entire month of June. Las Vegas next Monday. Then it's Sonoma, Phoenix, and Kansas to end out the month of June. We're off for Independence Day weekend. We'll be back July 13th for Talladega. Bunch of Toyotas at the front of the field. 6 of the top 7. Sorry, 6 of the top 8. We'll go ahead and do 6 of the top 8 just to be safe. Are all Toyotas here. Those Camrys, pretty strong Super Speedway cars. Let's see how these laps shake out. Pace car is in. 4th restart is underway. And away we go. Slow restart there for Meredith. But everyone got away pretty slow here. You know, it didn't stop him from getting ahead of Emily Howe. Trouble Viscali. Viscali and Whitlock, teammates. Up in the fence on the outside of turn 2. Sorry, that's not Whitlock. That is Henderson. That's Henderson and Viscali. What happened there? Oh. This will tell the tale. Whitlock was on the bottom, Viscali up top. And Viscali tried clearing himself off the nose of the 25. Tried to come up late. Didn't want to be stuck 3 wide coming out of turn 2. Unfortunately, I think that's going to look on Viscali a little bit badly here. There's a little bit of panic movement there. See if we can get you an onboard here from Henderson. Because it happens pretty quick. He finds his way to the outside. Viscali trying to cover it off. And both of them end up fence side here with some damage to repair late on in this race. Both of them were in the top 10. And we'll back it up here, actually. I want to back it up and sort of see what's happening here. This is on the restart. Viscali was on the bottom, Henderson up top. That doesn't help Viscali's case at all. Didn't want to commit until really late. And by that point, I mean, Henderson's already up there. He was already committed to the outside lane. Unfortunately, I think that does sit on the 18, just not being committed to either lane until super late. And by the time she committed to a lane, Henderson was there. Unfortunately, it happens more than we'd like it to. But that takes 2 top 10 contending race cars out of the running. And for Henderson at home, that is just a continuation of the norm. His best finish came in Season 1 here. And he has not reached that height since. So our 5th caution. The over-under on cautions was 8.5. For those that are wondering. So far, we're under. But we'll see if we can stay under with 30 laps to go. Coming to 29 to go on this restart. It is Meredith, Howe, Oberstadt, Height. Your top 4. Whitlock, Pressey, Blowers, Roberts, Jade, and Susie has made his way into the top 10, it looks like here. Marcus Chafin and Brady Smith in row 6, just outside the top 10, trying to make their way in. 31 cars. Sorry, it looks like 30 cars on lead lap. Misspoke there for a second. 30 cars on lead lap. Josh Arnold, first car, 1 lap down. Kevin Gibney Jr. in 32nd is 3 laps down, it looks like here. Derek Miller, the only official retirement in this race, down in 38th. Everyone else still rolling, it looks like here. 37 cars in total, still running here in Atlanta. We'll see how things pan out across these final 29 laps here in the Henderson Graphics 400. Gonna be a wild time. Let's see how things pan out. Green flag flies, away we go. 5th restart. Second verse seam is the first for Meredith. Slid to the outside lane in front of Emily Howe. Kaylin Height in that mix as well. Pressey's there in that 20. Patrick Oberstadt looking around. He's just seeing Toyotas everywhere. Until he looks in the mirror and sees his teammate, Bren Roberts, right there behind him. Do not count out the 8 or the 88. Your defending winner and your favorite to win this race are nose to tail, third and fourth outside lane. But they've got an armada of Toyotas to work against. Didn't go well in Daytona 2 weeks ago. Does it go better here? We'll find out. Meredith and Emily Howe, they have been two of the most aggressive drivers in this race, for better or for worse. There's a reason they are up front. Kalen Height, alternate strategy, huge hit to the wall, Brady Smith. That was a huge shot to the wall, target fixation again, and an ascent car eating the safer barrier in the tri-oval. Sasek did it earlier. Flores did it earlier. Brady Smith did it harder. That was painful. And that car's hurt. That car is hurt significantly. It's not good at the front of the field right now. Everyone's scattering. Wild times in this field. Single file for 7. Meredith leads. Howe and Oberstadt, second and third. Oberstadt to the bottom of the racetrack. Does Bryn Roberts follow? Yes, he does. Toyota versus Chevrolet at the front of the field, and there's Ford. There's Josh Susie. And he's the only one in the top 10. Trying to carry that blue oval. Meredith up top, being helped by Emily Howe. Wild bump there out of turn 2. Everyone pushing now. Susie pushed Emily Howe. All three of them got a little bit wobbly down the back straightaway. But you can tell that it has become go time here in Atlanta. You see the lights, you see the sparks. And you can see the urgency here in the field. Important note, Blake Henderson, who was involved in an incident with Viscali, is still in this lead pack in 17th, or in that 17th range. Viscali, last car on the lead lap right now in 29th. Coming to 20. 21 laps to go. Oberstadt looking really good right now. Both of the Beagle Denny racing cars looking good. The 8 and the 88 looking really good right now. A little bit of side draft by Meredith. The thing that got him ostracized and sort of starved out in Daytona is the thing that he needs to do right now to try to win this race. It worked out pretty well. Talking about side draft, takes the air off the side of the car that you're battling with. Makes him unstable, slows him down a little bit, acts like a parachute. But a parachute to one side of the car. So it's a pretty compound effect, especially here at the super speedways where the cars are more symmetrical. These cars are a lot more sensitive on the right side of those cars. Brady Smith came down pit lane, about to go a second lap down, it looks like here, or a third. Looks like a third lap down is what's about to happen. He goes top side, lets the leaders go through on the bottom. Pick a lane, be predictable. And he hits the wall again. And oh my goodness, Brady Smith. This is a race to forget for the 95. That is atrocious. Car in the fence for a moment. Blowers into turn one. He'll drop back. By the furthest of technicalities, Christina Ryan's the edge of this lead pack in 25th. $16 to go. Another car in the fence further back, I believe. That's Austin Mongold. It is not. No, it's Tucker Sawyer. My apologies. Tucker Sawyer was the car that was in the fence. Mongold was getting around him. Mongold now 20th. 15 to go at the line. Meredith, Howe, Oberstadt, Susie, Roberts, Height, Blue Jade, the 60. In this phase at the end, like we've seen from her at Daytona and Atlanta in the Truck Series, a little wobbly, more contact, and they all somehow save it. Contact between Smeal and Jones, contact between Oberstadt, Height, Roberts, and I believe that would have been Susie. And somehow they all saved it. Explain to me that one, Chief. 14 to go. Top four, single file. Teammates side by side for fifth. Seems like Meredith's in the cat-bird seat, but we've seen that happen before. Huge contact, Susie in the fence off the nose of Caitlin Height. And there's trouble. Several cars involved. 6 caution late. Huge contact for several cars. I believe Blowers went up and over. The 34 Blowers up and over. Significant damage on the 34. That entire rear end of that car is gone. Marcus Chafin, unfortunately, involved in this one. Looks like Christina Ryan gets through in the 80. Went all the way to the inside wall to avoid it, but gets through. But a lot of trauma. It came off the nose of Caitlin Height when Josh Susie tagged the fence. Everyone target fixating so hard, they're losing sight of the tri-oval wall. That is the 6th contact to the outside wall in the tri-oval. The 4th to cause a caution. And that's a big one late on in this race with less than 15 to go. We'll be going green with less than 10 to go here. And it starts early. You see the contact up at the top of your screen. We'll put it back in focus here. We'll stop the replay and back it up here because it starts with Josh Susie and Caitlin Height. They bite the wall pretty hard here. Target fixation. Susie's target fixated on the 15. Caitlin Height's just pushing the 81 here. Is it a bad bump? 100% it's a bad bump. Caitlin Height largely stays off of him here. He ends up in the fence again, but it's everyone behind trying to react here. And Blowers hooked off the nose of Stephen Oberstadt, who does get a piece of it. He gets put in the fence there. Markowski gets a piece of it. Hunter Whitlock gets a piece of it. Who is that goes underneath? Looks like Apperson. Chafin, Sasick, Jason Scott trying to thread the needle. Can't do so. Bounces off of Whitlock back into the bottom of the racetrack. Casey Ellis trying to weave and get out of the way here. But it is trouble and it is mayhem all the way through. Christina Ryan was at the tail end of the pack. Same with Dustin Hall. And they went clear to the inside lane to make sure that they avoided this one. A lot of cars on pit lane. 20 cars right now, I'd say safely, have a chance to win this race right now as we approach 10 to go. Our 6th yellow of the night. And I think, looking at the Patreon chat, Bailey Thompson may have jinxed Bobby Blowers. The comment Bailey Thompson made, Bailey Thompson obviously watching while traveling home. Really like where Bobby's at. He's been in a great spot this whole race. That was 6 minutes ago, and then 4 minutes later. Oops. Never mind. So I believe I will point Bobby Blowers in your direction for that one, Bailey. Congratulations. That is a wonderful prize for you. Less than 10 laps to go here in the Henderson Graphics 400. Meredith Smeal, Jones, Height, Wright, Pressey, Henderson, Ryan, Hal, Roberts. That is a who's who in this top 10. Oof. This is going to be a fight. A bunch of plate racing specialists, a bunch of drivers with nothing to lose right now. Throwing a couple of hometown drivers in the mix, and we have ourselves some spice potentially. I would have we talked about the over/under for cautions was 8.5 tonight. We're at 6. We can squeeze a couple more cautions into that. I think this field's not going to lift, especially the front end. It's so top heavy, but they're so ambitious. Meredith wanting to win here in Atlanta. Everyone wants to win right now. You want to kick off the season strong. Everyone trying to rinse away Daytona. A lot of drivers in the front of the field did not have a great Daytona. 6th restart. We're underway. 8 laps to go. Meredith got a really good restart there. Davis Miller Jr. Whoa, trouble! Meredith turned! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Huge crash! Huge crash! Caution's out the 7th time. That's not a commentator's curse. That was analytics. That was analytics. That was heart of the cards, and the cards were saying chaos. Josh Susie involved in that. All 3 Gibney Racing Division cars involved in that. Smeal, Susie, and Gibney all involved. Susie's day's done. That crab walk is terminal. That is a car completely dusted before the end of this race. He will not finish top 39. Del Markowski's day is done. And they're biting the dust late, and they're biting the dust in bunches. Meredith got turned heavily off the nose of Davis Miller Jr. His car, not in a good way either. So let's take a look here. It's already started. The caution comes out later on here. It's already started. As we mentioned, nobody's going to lift. So much ambition, so much aggression in the top 10 on that restart. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that this was the this was the outcome that was coming. A bunch of drivers that do not care for each other. They do not like each other. They're not going to live for each other. We know that. None of it surprising what happened here. Caitlin Hyatt gets away, I think, the best of everyone in this. avoids coming back up onto the racetrack. Unfortunately, Davis Moore Jr., not a lot he can do. Oh, huge hit. Christina Ryan and into Dale Markowski. That's how that started. Austin Mongol gets into Casey Ellis and then goes door-to-door with Smeal. Sasek, there's where Susie gets himself pile driven. That was the damage, I think, mostly is done there by John Matthews there. Gary Donaldson gets very close but gets away with it. Unfortunately, the door shuts, and that's where Gibney and Jason Scott get a piece. Richard Odie goes through the grass to try to avoid it. DJ Anderson, far enough back to try to pick and weave through the chaos there. Yikes. I'd say a bad night. Meredith's still going to try to keep rolling here, but that car is far from 100%. He's trying to hold on to a top 20 here. That is his goal, is just top 20 here. Caitlin Height, I think, for the most part, survives that. Sitting 16th. I don't think 100% race car here. Christina Ryan coming back down pit lane. That car not 100%. But no, not many are at this point. Doesn't take much. So your pole sitter back on point. Nick Pressey and James Wright. Nick Pressey, first pole position, first official start this season. His second start ever. He started the race in Le Mans back in season 4 a couple years ago. James Wright has never finished outside the top 10 here in Atlanta. His best finish was 3rd when he was part of Stepping Stone Motorsports, now part of Arrowhead Racing. He is now currently that team's best driver. Emily Howell, their top 4. Blake Henderson looking for potentially his best result here at home. He's restarting this race top 4. Patrick Oberstadt, the defending winner, in 5th. Blue Jade in 6th. Zach Apperson in 7th. Brendan Roberts, Byron Jones, and Dustin Hall round out your top 10. And as we mentioned, 8.5 was the over/under in cautions. We have hit 7. This sort of 7th restart coming up here. An 8th caution will force overtime. Coming to 5 laps to go here in Atlanta. Tale of two halves. First half of the race, green and clean, -1 caution on lap 7. Second half of the race, 6 cautions. Green flag is out, away we go. A little bit of wheel spin on the front row. But everyone keeps rolling. Pressey and Howell. Outside lane with Patrick Oberstadt. Not the cleanest getaway for James Wright. Bren Roberts goes top side. Henderson stuck to the bottom. Cars bumping into the wall further back. That's Jones and Whitlock. Emily Howell to the front of the field. Outside lane around the 20 of Nick Pressey. 4 to go. Oberstadt now in front. Bren Roberts looking for second. This could be a barnstorming Atlanta finish. Let's see how it pans out. Coming to 3 laps to go. Roberts goes topside ahead of Emily Howell. Oberstadt trying to cover. Howell middle 3. Henderson outside, top lane. Nobody wants the lifts here in Atlanta with 3 laps to go. Henderson tried to make it work. I also don't think he's got the stuff in that car. Coming to 2 to go. Oberstadt trying to go back-to-back in Atlanta. A little over 3 miles to do it. Pressey trying to go for the race lead himself. Clean air at the bottom of the racetrack, but he's got no help. Henderson back in the top 5 conversation, making 4th. Coming to the white flag. Patrick Oberstadt and Bren Roberts take us to 1 lap to go, presented by Henderson Graphics. Chevrolet out in front. Cars in the fence further back. Will we stay green? We race to the finish. Trouble behind. Huge car wreck. Blue Jay turned. This is the race to the finish here in Atlanta. Who's it gonna be? Roberts, contact. Patrick Oberstadt. Was it Roberts or Oberstadt? They crash at the line. Cars wrecked all over the place. My goodness. What just happened? It's saying Brendan Roberts is the winner of this race. And that is not a car that is going to be during burnouts, I don't think. That is Terry Labonte's 1995 Bristol car. After he got junked by Dale Earnhardt after the checker. Brendan Roberts, the favorite to win this race, fulfilled the odds here. My goodness. And when I take a look at this final lap, no overtime needed. Wow. Just, wow. Henderson really too far back to have a chance. You see the crash further back. The HTL Cup Series staff will have nightmares taking care of this one. The slow motion coming to the line, the contact between the teammates. And yeah, Brendan Roberts grabbed it by a literal nose. That's what it was. You want the freeze frame here. It is quite simply this. Screenshot that, guys. It doesn't get a lot closer. It can get closer. Typically requires some dumb luck to do it. Two teammates separated by a nose. And the monster everyone feared going into the season can only put together a third. And behind this is a driver getting his best career result at his home race. We'll try to talk to the podium finishers. Well, obviously, we'll talk to the podium finishers here on YouTube. We'll try to talk to Blake Henderson and others here on Victory Lane on Patreon after the fact. What a race. Goodness gracious. That is the screenshot of tonight. If you want to see if there's any indication of how tonight went. That was wild. We do have our podium finishers to talk about here. So give us a second to get to the correct replay here. We will start our podium interviews with Emily Howe, the third place finisher here tonight. Emily, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy.
Howdy, trucker.
That was a bit of a wild race, I think, to say the least here. Third place finish, obviously miles better than what we saw at Daytona for the 15 camp.
To be fair, Carmen, I did finish third on track.
Okay, that was despite the speeding penalty at Daytona. No such speeding penalties here at Atlanta, which was great.
I tried. Don't you worry. I tried to speed.
Oh, I saw it. I saw it. That being said, a wild race here in Atlanta. It typically does produce these wild races. Third place here, 3 wide finish at the line. Walk us through it. It was a little bit of everything, as we typically see here in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, just me, Meredith, and Bren were really working good together all race long. We kind of pulled that big gap and then a green flag stops, and so I just kind of keep that friendship alive until the end there. And I really wasn't sure if taking tires there with 15 to go would be the right move. But when it comes to a plate race at the end, I want to be the aggressor, not playing defense. So ultimately, you got to stack up a third or second. I don't know what I know. Brent won, so that's all that really matters. But yeah, I mean, fun package, more fun than I thought it would be the whole time. But
we get out of the plate racing situation here. Obviously, I think everyone plate racing fatigued out. It's been a month and change here running plate races in the HTL Cup Series. Obviously, we saw how fast the cars were at Daytona, qualified well. Obviously, they ran well. Just speeding penalties on pit lane took things out of the team's hands. We see the cars do well in Atlanta here. What's the optimism going into Las Vegas, now actually being able to sort of jump into the open setups and really tinker with things to get things where you want them to be instead of having to sort of play within the margins here on the plate tracks?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's going to be a whole new set of circumstances coming out of the plate racing out of the Gen 4. So we'll have to see how it goes. Excited to kind of get to 1.5 miles and kind of see how the field shakes out in terms of who's good at intermediates and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Obviously, a lot of excitement here. Obviously, a great finish to this race, ending under regulation. Didn't need overtime to get there. Before we let you go and let you obviously focus on the upcoming races here, obviously, Winston coming back for Watkins Glen on Sunday, the next HTL Cup race on Monday at Las Vegas. A lot to look forward here. Before we let you go and let you focus on those races, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. A phenomenal drive and a first podium for Emily Howe here in HTL.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking back at lap 7 now. I do want to just apologize for that. Looking back at it, the sun caught my eye in a weird way. My perception of where the line was just completely wrong. So I got Mo there. I tried the lift, but it was too late. Too little too late. So sorry to Mo at all for that lap 7 wreck. And then hopefully gonna get a big shout out to Toyota, everyone I worked with, including Zach Meredith and the unaffiliated Toyota. And everyone behind the scenes, everyone behind the scenes at Henderson Graphics, who put on HTL and all the fun stuff we do every week.
A lot of fun HTL back up and running here for the month of June. We'll be seeing Emily Howe again twice in the next 7 days, on Sunday in Watkins Glen for the Winstall Cup Series, and next Monday for the HTL Cup Series in Las Vegas. Emily, congratulations on the podium tonight, and hopefully we'll talk to you again on Sunday.
Hopefully. Next time I'm going to change my rim color. I didn't realize I left them blue, Carmen.
I didn't
with
until,
the red car.
I didn't until like 15 minutes before I went live, and I was like, well, we kind of can't change it now, so we'll cover that for Vegas.
I just now saw that in the replay. But see you next week. Good luck to everyone else, and have fun doing your broadcasting.
A lot of fun for Emily Howe. P3 here. We'll try to talk to her again in Winstell's Watkins Glen race on Sunday. Emily, congratulations.
Thank you.
That was Emily Howell, the third place finisher here tonight. A great finish for her. Obviously kept making up for the race at Daytona 2 weeks ago, in which a spinning penalty took her out of contention. We'll talk to the next man up. He won this race by a close margin last season. This time it's his teammate that beats him to the flag. Deja vu. It's between you and Bren. It seems like every time we come here. He's got 2 now. You've got a second place once again. Walk us through it, Patrick. That was a pretty wild event, all things considered.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. The whole race was pretty. I liked it because I like the sketchiness, and you got to actually take care of the tires to pass towards the end. But towards the end there, I knew Brem was going to take it. I just didn't want to block and wreck us both. So that was in the back of my head the whole time.
This was everyone kind of knew that Beagle Denny Racing was going to be good here. Team Ralph always is good here at Atlanta. They're good at all the plate tracks. That was pretty well solidified here tonight. You talk about liking the sketchiness of the way this car behaves here in Atlanta. What makes it so comfortable for you guys? Because you either have it or you don't. It seems like here, it's not like there's a gray area like what there is at Daytona or Talladega. It's pretty well an on and off switch.
I think once me and Bren got finally connected, I knew if wherever I put my car, if he was behind me, he was going to push me, and there were going to be decent pushes. But that only had one hairy moment where I was about, I think, 20 degrees sideways, and I thought I was done, but he laid off, and I was able to save it. And I don't know, I just think we worked very well together. Just the Beagle Denny Racing, and I just think that's key to success here, and patience.
It worked out phenomenally. We know this team is good at the 1.5 miles here, whether it's the plate 1.5 miles or not. Las Vegas coming up here, another track the team is really good at. What's the optimism going into Las Vegas and trying to repeat the success next weekend?
Yeah, we feel pretty good. I know our set's pretty fast, and sadly I won't be here. I'm going to be in Montana, but I'll be rooting for the guys on my phone and watching the broadcast.
Well, obviously, we wish you safe travels when you head to Montana for, I'm assuming vacation, I would have to assume. That being said, second place tonight, a good place to be. I'm sure that car will be in safe hands with Dale Markowski next Monday. But before we let you go, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. It's a lot of fun watching you on the racetrack here, doing your thing on the plate races, and hopefully we get to see a lot more of that after next week when we see you again for the rest of the month of June.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, first off, thank you for putting on the broadcast to let my new fiance watch. And then I'd like to thank Dustin Hall for the setups, Blake for the awesome paint scheme, my brother for signing me as a driver, and I'd like to thank Bren, Dale, Austin also. He was here for this race. They're always fun to race around. So, but that's about it.
A lot of fun here tonight for Patrick Oberstadt. Teammates 1-2 for Team Ralph. Beagle Denny Racing's Patrick Oberstadt second tonight in a photo finish here in Atlanta. Patrick, congratulations. Safe travels on your way to Montana, and we'll see you again after next week.
Alrighty, sounds good.
That was Patrick Oberstadt, your second place finisher here tonight. We'll talk to your race winner here, Bren Roberts. Second race win in Atlanta. He was the odds-on favorite, had not finished worse than 6th in Atlanta in his HTL Cup Series career. Grabbed the second race win. Didn't look like it was in doubt tonight. Most laps led tonight as well for car number 8. Bren Roberts, walk us through that race. That was absolutely wild to watch.
Yeah, it was wild to drive. Package was very different from what we raced in Daytona. It's very different from how the next gen races here, how the truck races here. Is really, really tough, especially when you're in those big packs like towards the end of the race, or how we were at the beginning of runs. You'd have a lot of people kind of washing up, and on the top you're trying to run down because you have to lift, and really complicated. But for how tough it was, for there to be as little incidents as I think there were, I mean, hats off to the field.
Absolutely wild stuff here tonight in Atlanta. Obviously, long green flag run. We had a little bit of everything, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast. A little bit of everything. The first half of the race, it was a tale of two halves. First half of the race, really the first 100 laps, only one yellow. And then, obviously, we saw what happened in the second half of the race. It was survival of the fittest, though, tonight. And that 8 car looks so good. What makes this track just so good for you? Because your record here at Atlanta is better than it is anywhere else. And you have a good track record at a lot of places. What makes this track just so good for you? Not just you, but the entire team. The entire team looks strong tonight.
I love drafting races. There's nothing that I like racing more. I think about Atlanta. There's less like luck involved. I want to say, not even necessarily luck. There's just less variables that are out of your own hands. So I think you see a lot of the same people up front throughout the race, and obviously throughout different seasons. Like obviously, I think me and Patrick have finished 1-2 like the last 3 Atlanta races or something like that.
3 in a row, yes.
Just absurd stat. I have so much to thank him for, but I mean, yeah, it's just I think it's more skill based for a drafting race than Daytona or Talladega. So I'd like to win those, but I'll take these.
And we move on to a track that the team is also good at. We go from Georgia to Nevada for a race in Las Vegas. The team has been really good there in recent seasons as well. Is the optimism up there? Obviously, a new season, everyone getting used to the open setups. Is the optimism there that the team can try to continue this form next week as well?
Yeah, hopefully. I look forward to these. I don't want to say real racetracks. I don't want to pull a Ty Gibbs, but I mean, I look forward to these upcoming races because I think we'll really get to show how we've improved as a team. I think last year we were really just making do with what we could with the switch to open setups in the middle of the season, and having a full off season and partnership with Dustin and Team Conti and all those pieces coming together. I think we can really improve, and I think you'll see that in our performance going forward.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch how the season unfolds. The team did phenomenally well. A 1-2 tonight here in Atlanta. Obviously going to try to go and repeat that success here in Nevada and Las Vegas coming up here next Monday. Before we let you go and let you get ready for everything coming up here as we kick off the month of June, Brent, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on your 5th career HTL Cup win and your 2nd here in Atlanta.
Yeah, thanks. Obviously, thanks to you for the broadcast and all the work you do putting this forward. Thanks to the admins for all the work that they do. Thanks to Steven for picking me up 2 seasons ago in the middle of the season and running with me and giving me an opportunity. All my teammates, Austin, Dale, Dustin, Patrick, and Steven, like I said. Henderson Graphics, I might be a little biased, but I think we have the best looking cars in the field, and that's all because of Blake. And then, like I said, Team Conti and Dustin, really looking forward to next week when we can show what we have.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. First open setup race of the season coming up there in Las Vegas in 7 days' time. Bren Roberts, your race winner here in Atlanta, the 2nd time in his career in HTL. He is 2 for 5 as far as race wins go here in Georgia. Bren, we'll look forward to seeing you again in Las Vegas next week. Enjoy the race win, and we'll talk to you again very soon.
Thank you.
That was Bren Roberts, your race winner here tonight. Results for those watching on YouTube here tonight. This will conclude our broadcast for YouTube. For those watching on Patreon, noticed a couple of new Patreon subscribers during the broadcast. Welcome to the club. We're glad you're with us. We have more interviews lined up, at least 4 interviews lined up here. Blake Henderson, his best career result in Atlanta, coming up here. He'll be on the list to be interviewed. We have Brent Roberts, Patrick Oberstedt, Emily Howe. We talked to your podium finishers here on the live broadcast. Blake Henderson, we'll talk to him on Victory Lane. Zach Apperson, Caitlin Height, Hunter Whitlock, James Wright, John Matthews, and Dustin Hall, your top 10 in a wacky finish here in Atlanta. Zach Meredith, Mirabella Viscali, rounding out your top 12 here tonight. Austin Mongold, Josh Arnold, Tucker Sawyer, Byron Jones, Nick Pressey, Gary Donaldson, Alfred Denny, and it looks like a little bit of a mix-up there between Marcus Chafin and Blue Jade. It looks like Chafin is 20th, Blue Jade 21st, but it glitched out on our screen there, so we'll leave it as it is. Brady Smith in 22nd, Jason Scott 23rd, Kevin Gibney Jr. 24th. That is correct. And from Chafin on down, everyone saw at least 160 laps here. Marcus Chafin on down, 1 lap down or more. Bobby Blowers, Josh Susie, you start looking at some of the calamity that took place in this race. Christina Ryan, 27th. Stephen Oberstadt, 28th. Eli Sasek, 29th. Casey Ellison, 30th. David Smith Jr., 31st. Dale Markowski, Richard Odie, Mo Perry, Pacey Wygant, and DJ Anderson, your top 36. 2 cars at the end here. Elias Flores and Derek Miller will look to Las Vegas for a chance to shake off these plate racing blues and get to work officially here in the HTL Cup Series, down 2 races after Daytona and Atlanta. That'll do us from us on YouTube. We're glad you are with us. If you're watching on Patreon, stay tuned for Victory Lane coverage coming up here in just a couple minutes. On behalf of everyone here for HTL, for the HTL Cup Series and all of its partners, and everyone here at ABN Studios and Carmen, Sienna, that's been the Henderson Graphics 400 here in Atlanta. Stay safe and stay healthy. We'll see you again tomorrow night for the HTL Challenger Series in Sin City. So long, everybody.